5 Traits of a Psychological Abuser. A psychological abuser is not always easy to identify. There is a belief that the only way people can hurt us is when they physically attack us. The problem is that we are surrounded by experts who can hurt us without lifting a finger, giving us a push or using an object. But they cause as much or even more damage than those who physically attack us. Machismo, bullying, discrimination. There are countless reasons why someone feels justified in abusing someone they consider weak. It is one of the strongest expressions of inequality, and of course it has to do with success and the rivalry that exists in today's society. Psychological violence makes you completely useless as far as your mind is concerned. Anna Isabel Gutierrez, Salgu. We can find them everywhere. In our family life, relationships, college, university, work, and among our friends. There is no escape. They are out there and there is no way to avoid them. But we can identify them based on their character traits. Therefore, it is important to be aware and understand how to interpret what a person's true intentions may be. Although psychologists and scholars do not fully agree on how to assess them, a psychological abuser is far from mentally ill. In most cases, they simply cause harm by demonstrating the power they have over the other person. Therefore, there are notable characteristics that define them. Here are 5 of them. 1. Intolerance and psychological abuser. The addict does not accept that there are differences. Theirs is the only world that counts and they place no value in anyone else's. In his relations with the opposite sex, the person always considers them as inferior. They are cases of machismo or feminism taken to its limits. The addict treats others the same way society treats them. If the person shares their views, then the abuser will approach them if they are in line with their own views. If they are not, the abuser will keep their distance and reject them. They are influenced by social prejudices. Therefore, they are often seen to be discriminatory and disrespectful towards those who are different. 2. Inflexibility. The abuser thinks and acts as if they own the truth. They don't care about other people's views. They tend to impose their ideas on others, regardless of the context they find themselves in. When it comes to making deals, they don't budge because they believe their views must be accepted. A psychological abuser believes that they are the master of every situation, are always right. Others are always wrong and their different opinions are wrong simply because they are different. They are negative leaders who always want to stand out, manipulate and be the center of attention. 3. Black and white. For a person with this psychological point of view, only black and white exist. They do not accept nuance of any kind. This prevents them from forgiving and considering the circumstances of a person who was simply wrong about something. It also makes them simply unable to recognize their own faults. This addict is summed up completely in the phrase, "There is only one step from love to hate." They perceive life as 2 extremes which, coming together, can produce disastrous results. For them, things are either good or bad, truth or lie, you win or lose. They react according to the way they understand life. 4. Hypersensitivity. They are the kind of people who find it difficult to control their emotions. When they fail, they find it difficult to start again. If, on the contrary, they succeed, then they believe that they have reached heaven themselves. All extremes are evil, says popular wisdom. But the psychological abuser looks positively on extremism and even allows it to himself. They have no real self-criticism, and at the same time they judge themselves seriously, but superficially. They tend to get easily depressed, and they often fall into depths from which almost no one will be able to save them. This is due to their low self-esteem, and it keeps them in a permanent state of anxiety with a tendency to pretend to be the victims. 5. Charm and the psychological addict. While gaining their victims' trust, they act like the nicest people in the world. It is difficult for people around them to discover their true intentions. The psychological abuser deserves an Oscar. Their charisma amazes people, and wherever they go, everyone loves them. Even when they remove their mask and shows their true color, other people, especially the victim, refuse to believe that they are dealing with an abuser. And their disappointment is so great that many will probably never come to accept the terrible and disturbing truth. Despite all these traits, the psychological abuser often leads a life full of suffering. Their worst punishment is not being able to truly love someone. That is why there is so much loneliness and emptiness in their daily lives. The abuser is ultimately a victim of his own abuse,